Okay, so you have all of your bundles of papers in the apple boxes, and they're set aside somewhere in your house, and you are going to work on them 15 minutes at a time every day. If you do that, before you know it, all of those papers will be dispersed and taken care of, and they will not exist in that area anymore. Now, here's the thing that we want to do now. We want to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. And here's the way that we're going to make sure that it doesn't happen anymore. Here are some things you're going to need. You're going to need a basket, kind of like this maybe, or it could even be something like this. Some kind of a decorative box that doesn't have a lid on it, okay? And you're also going to need another decorative box, something like this maybe, that does have a lid, okay? The easier the lid is to lift, the better, but it can also be, just one of those decorative boxes that you can buy with a lid that has a little latch and opens up. That's fine too, okay? So those are the two things that you're going to need. Now let me tell you what you're going to do with these two things. When the mail comes in, it's going to go directly in one of these baskets, okay? So the mail comes in and that's where it goes. Make sure that you bring it to a place that is easily accessible. You don't have to walk through the house and get it there or anything like that. Something that will sidetrack you from actually getting it into the basket, okay? So put it in an area that's very close to where you get the mail or where you walk into the house. I used to have my mailbox right to the right of my front door, and as soon as you walked in on my porch, I had a basket where that's where the mail went. And you make sure everybody in the household knows if you get mail, it goes in that basket. Don't leave it on an end table. Don't leave it on the kitchen table. Don't leave it on a foyer table or any place else in the house. It goes in that basket. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to choose 2 days a week that you're going to deal with anything that has to do with paper or office, okay? And you're going to call this your desk day. Now it doesn't mean that you spend an entire day on papers and that kind of thing. It just means that a particular day you have determined that that is what this day is going to be concentrated on. You're not going to worry about doing errands on that day. You're not going to feel like you have to do a lot of baking on that day. Whatever comes across your path, if you don't have this part of your life taken care of, which is your desk day, you have to veto it. You have to say no. You have to say, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't go to lunch. I haven't done anything for my desk day so far, and until I do, I don't take any other outside appointments or activities or anything until I get that done, okay? So the point to this is that your desk day is a day that you make sure that you're going to deal with these kind of things, with mail that comes in, with bills that have to be paid, with phone calls that have to be made, with emails that have to be answered, okay? So a desk day is a day that you're going to take care of anything that has to do with office. Now, if you have gotten rid of everything to the side and you're done with that, you may need to use your desk day to take care of your office area. Like maybe if you have a space in your house where you have your computer and you have, like stationery and things like that that you're dealing with, that may be a day, your desk day will be a day that you're going to take care of that area. So in the beginning, it might take a little longer because it might have been a long time since you've addressed, those things, your desk, your computer area, okay? Maybe it have been a long time since you've addressed that. But once you do and you put in your time and it is all taken care of, then it's going to be a real easy thing because 2 times a week, you're going to be just sprucing it up. It'll always be in good shape. So here's what we're going to do with our papers on our desk day. We're going to take the basket that has our mail in it, and we're going to stand over the garbage. And we're going to look at everything that we get, okay? Everything that we get. And we're going to look at the mail. Do I need this? No. you know, most papers are going to be recycled, so that would go in the recycling bin. Or I guess all papers would be recycling. Do I need this? No. Recycle. Do I need this? Yes. Put what you need aside that you have to address. You don't address it now. You're just doing the sorting. All right? Yes, this is something I have to address. No, that is junk mail. No, that is junk mail. Yes, this is something I have to address. Junk mail. Address, junk mail. See what I mean? That's what we're doing. Junk mail. Now let's say there is a letter that you need to open. All right. And oh, here's a letter that I need to open. All right. Open it over the recycling. Don't open it like you're going to do the work and now you're going to open the mail at the same time. Fine if you open the mail at the same time, but make sure that you have that that recycling bin next to you or wherever it is that you can stick it in so that it's right next to you. Because I'll do it later has to be a thing of the past for you. Do it now is your motto. I'll do it later is not anything that should ever come out of your mouth again. So, okay, so you open it. You see, all right, here's a whole bunch of fillers. Here's a whole bunch of stuff I don't need. Get rid of the fillers. Keep the portion that you need, okay? So that's what you're going to do with incoming mail. Now, say we have all of these things that we're going to keep. Let's pretend this is empty. This happens to be my sister and my brother-in-law's. They're away on vacation for a few weeks, so the mail is accumulating. Okay, so we have here things that we want to address, all right? Where do these go? These go in that basket that I was talking about before, okay? They go in the basket that's closed. This will be in an area of your home that you can see. It looks nice, it feels good with your place, and it works just fine. So then, if you have time on this desk day, then you'll take care of some of these things that need to be taken care of in here. You'll open it up and you'll just take it out and you'll start working on whatever it is you need to work on. If you can't do it on this day, you have another desk day. So on that second desk day is when you will address this, and every single day you will address the mail. Every single day the mail comes in and goes in the basket. On your desk day is when you will open the mail and sort the mail, okay? Of course, you can sort the mail any day of the week that you want to, but there's 2 days a week that you will not neglect it, and those are your 2 desk days. Okay, so let's say you're sitting at the kitchen table and you have all your paperwork and you're working on it and you say, all right, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. You get a phone call and somebody says, I'm going to the dump. Do you want to go to the dump with me? And you're like, oh yeah, I want to go to the dump. Then you take all those papers. You don't really care about how they go back in this basket. You just take them and you stick them in there. What happens when you do that is you eliminate all of those ugly piles that accumulate in the house. You know, even if it's just one ugly pile, you're eliminating that one ugly pile. It's not necessary. Everything is contained. Everything is exactly where it is. You don't have to put it in order. You know that when you come and you do your next desk day, everything's going to be in there waiting for you to work on. Okay, so a lot of this is old school, all right? I deal with very little paper. Like nearly none. Everything that I have now is digital. I have everything sent to me digitally. I don't want the papers. It's not necessary. If I wanted to have the papers, which I used to do because it was a little bit difficult for me to let go of it all at the same time, I had the bills come to me digitally. And then say it was my phone bill. I printed out the very first page with the amount that it was due, the dates on it and all of that. And I wrote on that one page, that first page, you know, the check that I wrote out, where if I did paid it online, I wrote on there paid online, the date that I paid it online. And then I had this little filing system that I'll share with you in a minute. But let me tell you, this really is for old school. If you're still old school, this is really a fabulous system. But if you're still old school, I am telling you that It's time to get into the 20th century. Or are we in the 21st century? The 21st century. It really is. Like, could you imagine if the cars were still available and you were still saying, I'm not getting in one of those cars, bring me the horse and buggy. Really? Or like if somebody says, can you call my friend because I think that, no, I'm not using that telephone. If you want to call your friend, walk over there. That's how ridiculous it is that we're still holding on to all of these papers. It's time to, move ahead with the way things are today, But I'm still going to share with you this old school method of dealing with papers if you still pay your bills by check and you still get your bills mailed to the house. Okay, so here's what you'll need to do that. You'll need a picture storage box. You can get them at any craft store. They used to cost 99 cents when I first got started, and now they are, I think, $2.50. Inside of this little storage box, picture storage box, you will have envelopes with the current year and the month on them. During this time, it happens to be 2017, but the months never change. So January to December, and whatever year it is, you put it on each corner. So you'll write them on there and then put them in the box. Now I have this little clippy thing on here. I never used to use the clippy thing, and the only reason I have it here now is because it made it easier for the presentation. But I do see, after having it in here, that it really makes it a little bit more neat in there. And so if you are doing this, these might be a nice idea to have, but they're so not necessary. Okay, so you have those. Another thing that you need are just plain envelopes, and you can have both sizes. You can have like the kind that you might send, I don't know, something in, these size, or the letter size. Okay, and you have a bunch of them. Maybe, I don't know, however many you think, a dozen. Okay, inside of a little baggie, you will have stamps, for snail mail. You will have tape. You don't have to have tape, but it kind of does come in handy. A pen, and I have a couple of elastic bands in here. And you really won't need the elastic bands, but when the whole year is out, you're going to bundle it all up. So I'll show you that in a minute, how that works. Another thing that you'll have in here is a calculator. You want a calculator. You'll want your checkbook in here if you pay your bills by check and you don't carry it around with you. If you carry your checkbook around with you, then you'll just need to have your purse or whatever it is that, your purse or something that you carry your checkbook in with you when you're going to be working with this box. Otherwise, your checkbook goes in here as well. Okay, so that's all you need for inside of this box. When your bank statements come in, if you're still getting bank statements in the mail, the bank statements, each time it comes in, it's going to go between the the envelopes with the month on them, and the blank envelopes that you have in here, the blank envelopes. Okay, so you have the month envelopes, January to December with the year on it. You have, then after that will come every bank statement that you have, you'll stick in there. And then after that, in this little, see, it's like that kind of thing, see? You will have your blank envelopes so that if you need to mail something in an envelope, you got the envelope to mail. Oh, another thing that I like to keep in here is thank you cards, because I like to send a little thank you card if somebody does something nice for me. So I used to have the thank you cards in there so that I could just, pop some little thank you in the mail. It always makes people feel good, and I liked doing that. But these are not necessary. You don't have to have thank you notes inside of your box, but you can. So that's what I had in my box. Okay, so let me let you know how this works. Okay, so it's your desk day. And it's a day that you're going to work on your papers and whatnot. And so what are you doing? You're taking your box that you have taken mail from to put in to work on, right? Any papers that you might have, anything that has to be addressed is in this, this decorative box that you had that you remember sorted through your mail and got rid of all the fillers, got rid of everything you didn't need, and put the things that had to be addressed in this box, right? In this decorative box. So here it is, desk day, and you have this. What you'll do is you will take this particular box, right? And you will open it up, and you will open up your desk day box, I guess we can call it, and you'll take something out that you have to, go through, okay? So you'll open it up. Make sure that you have a recycle bin next to you when you do this, because you may not have opened up all of the mail before you put it in here. You may have just seen, when you did the sorting of the mail from the basket that it was dropped in, you may have just taken everything that you needed and tossed it in here without opening it. So if you haven't opened it yet, you would open it. You would put everything that's the filler and the stuff you don't need in the recycling, and then you would take care of each bill, one bill at a time. So let's say you had to write a check for this bill. You would write the check for the bill. On the cover page of whatever this bill happened to be, say, okay, so let's just pretend it's your cable bill. Okay, so you have your cable bill, you write your check out for your cable bill. Then on the top portion of the statement that you get, always got rid of everything else. I would take a look if it was my phone bill, say, or something like that, make sure everything was cool. And then I would get rid of all of the other pages and keep the top page. I'd write the number of the check that I wrote. If I happened to pay it online, I would write that I paid it online and how much I wrote the check for. I would take that one cover letter, piece of that one, like just the cover page of the bill, and I would put it in the appropriate envelopes month. And I would do this with every single bill, and I would do this every single month. I would, twice a week, I would take care of my papers, because when you put papers in here, it's going to accumulate papers. So you're going to go through them. When it's bill paying time and you're doing it old school, that's the way you do it. Each bill comes in, you stick it in the envelope, and you have a record of it. It really, really worked beautifully for me. If you are going to buy a house or you need to finance anything, all of that information that you need, a lot of it is going to be right at your fingertips right here. Of course, everything is online now, so it's very easy to get your bank statements online. You don't have to do it this way. You can if you want to go paperless, but you still want to have some sort of a paper record because it's just who you are. I actually did that first because I needed to transition to the paperless thing. I told my companies, my phone bill, my cable bill, all of those things, my public service bill, gas and electric, I told them I wanted to go paperless. And then when I paid the bill, I printed out the first cover copy of it, and then I did that writing on it, and I folded it up and put it into the envelope that was appropriate for the month, and I did the same thing on it. I wrote the check number, or I wrote that I paid it online. I wrote the date that I paid it, and that was that. At the end of the year, you will end up with about like this size of a little packet. I would take my check register and I would stick it here. Watch. I would get an envelope. I would get an elastic band, like I said before. You're going to want to have an elastic band for the end of the year. Okay. I would get an elastic band and I would put it around here, and then I would and then I would stick the check register right under it, so that year, everything that had to do with that year's expenses were all together in a little packet. And I used to line them up in a tomato box. If you go to the produce store, we talked about apple boxes for the papers. The tomato boxes are a little bit smaller, well, quite a bit smaller, very sturdy. They have little handles, and the lid comes on and off. It's a shallow lid, a lot like this one, okay? So that's the kind of lid is on a tomato box. And I would get a tomato box, and I would take each year and line them up. So I would have, periodical years. And then after 7 years, that you can get rid of one packet of those. You know, every 7 years, one of those is not, you don't have to save anymore, because that's what the rules are. Okay, so that's how you do it old school. And it works really nicely. I really loved it when I did do it this way. It keeps the mess down in the house. Remember, if you like to work in the kitchen, then take everything with you in the kitchen. Have it in the kitchen. Keep it in the kitchen. Work at the kitchen table if that's how you do it. And when you're done, you could even just shove it all into the box. You can just open the box and push it all in. It doesn't have to be all perfect and everything in there. You know where all the papers are. And if anybody comes around with papers, if you happen to have a paper, like maybe you got a parking ticket, or you got an invitation to something in the mail, you have, I don't know, anything that anybody handed you, like maybe you found out about this great yoga class and it came as a flyer, and you have this flyer. That is what will go in here, and you'll address each one of those papers on your desk day, and doing it twice a week and addressing what's in here, even if you don't have to pay bills, makes the piles of papers that are like revolving, the revolving pile of papers, actually revolving. Well, thank you so much for signing up for the de-junking series that we have. Expect one a month from now on, so you'll find one in your inbox around the 15th of each month. If you have not signed up for this series and you happen to have found this on my YouTube channel or maybe on my website, then there's a link either in the description box or right here on this page where you can sign up for this series. And if you do, you will get the first one right away. And you will get one for 5 days. The last one is the papers de-junking that we're going to go through. And then after that, you'll be able to get a video a month of us de-junking together. Thank you so much for being in my world, and I look forward to getting to know you, and I'll see you on the inside.